Hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we are going to be talking about the RYKER. This is number 3 in the 4 series of the CanAm Spyder lineup. First week we did the CanAm RT series. Last week we did the F3 series, which is by far the most complicated as far as the level of confusion of what people have. And now we're going to do the RYKER. Yes, the RYKER, the baby brother, the baby sister, if you will, whatever you want to call it, of the Spyder lineup. You know, when the RYKER came out, I will say this. I want to say that I think the RYKER is a brilliant marketing strategy. It really, really is. They look good. They're small. They were and still are somewhat affordable. And there's a lot of varying ways that you can customize it because there's a lot of plastic pieces on there that you can get through CanAm to make it look like yours. And they marketed it towards people who had never ridden before, which was good because it's perfect for that. I mean, you don't shift gears. You have a foot brake. You don't have a hand brake. You don't have a clutch. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. And it makes it a lot more confidence inspiring. Now, me personally, as a motorcycle guy, I'm like, well, it would be fun to play on. I would want something that I could, be irresponsible and stupid on it. But honestly, with me, even looking at the 900cc, it doesn't have as much power as I wish it did. But I don't want to beat the RYKER down. I got my Tom and Jerry shirt on. Coach Vic, she always says when I wear this one, it's going to be a critical review of anything because, he's got a little bad. He's getting ready to, beat the guy down. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So we know the RYKER is a big seller. It is a big seller. You're seeing way more of those on the road. If you go to a Spyder rally, unless it's surrounded by people who are my age, honestly, or older, you're going to see mainly RYKERs. When we went to the Trike Fest over in Daytona a couple of years ago, it was probably 10-to-1 RYKERs. When we go to Spyder Fest, it's primarily Spyders. But I think you're going to see the RYKER line grow. I think you're going to see the marketing on that even get more aggressive over the years because it is a huge seller. So let's talk about the 3 RYKERs that are in the lineup. There is your RYKER, just your base RYKER, and you have 2 of those. You have a 600cc twin cylinder engine and a 900cc triple engine. Now the 900cc triple is going to be the same engine on the next 2 tiers up, okay? So you've got a base that comes in a 600 or a 900. If you get the 600, you're only going to get the base, period. Next up, we have the RYKER Sport. It is a 900cc engine, exactly like the other. And then you have the RYKER Rally Edition. That's the creme de la creme, if you would. That is also the 900cc engine. So let's talk specs. Let's talk turkey on the engines first, now that we understand where that is. And then we'll talk some commonalities between all 3, regardless of which engine they have. They all have the same brakes, the 270 millimeter disc brakes, Nissan 2-piston calipers in the front. They have a rear brake of 220 millimeters. They all have a parking brake. All 3 of them are going to have a foot-operated 3-wheel braking system, okay? All 3 have a drive shaft, which is really cool. All right, so the 600 engine. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the 600 will be fun scooting around town, kind of a grocery getter. It's an inline 2-cylinder. It's fuel injected, but the horsepower is 50 horsepower. The wet weight is going to be way up there. It's going to be certainly over 600 pounds with 50 horsepower. I think I'm going to want a little more than that, just being honest with you. And the torque, 36.7 pound-feet of torque at 6,000 RPMs. Now, the Rotax 900. Okay, the 900 is a 3-cylinder, so you get a triple again, electronic fuel injected, electronic throttle control on both of them. We're getting a little better on the horsepower, 82 horsepower. And 58.3 pound-feet of torque. But in order to get that 58.3 pound-feet of torque, you're going to have to be revving up a little bit, 6,500 RPMs. And to get that horsepower, you're going to be at 8,000 RPMs. So just understand where these engines are, what they are, and what they're designed to do. They're not designed to be barnstormers. They're not my Triumph Speed Triple. I would consider them an entry-level motorcycle performance area. Now, you can get the 900 out there and you can smoke it up. I guarantee you can get on some gravel and some sand and play and have a good time on it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not putting it down like that. But in horsepower land, when you look at something that is more rideable in town, I want some giddy up. I'm just going to tell you. The transmissions are all the same. They're called a CVT transmission, and they all have reverse function from the base all the way to the top. Now the suspension. The suspension on all of them is pretty much the same. Now, and the reason I say pretty much, when you get into other levels, you're going to have a taller tire on the rally, on the back. You're going to have some different shock absorbers and the availability to adjust certain things on the shock absorbers. But the suspension design itself is the same. You have a double wishbone, like A-arms in the front. Your rear suspension is a monolink swing arm. In other words, it just has the one shock. The wheels are pretty much the same size on all of them. However, the tire size is a little different on some of them. We'll talk about that later. Another big difference is the look of the wheels on the different models. The wheels do look different. And I think the 2023 the Rally Edition has a really good looking wheel on there. Last year, the white wheel was not a big fan, I can tell you. I thought it was, well, I'll just say I thought it was ugly. But the gold wheel that they have on there that has the milled out CanAm on the wheel, it's gold. I'll drop a picture of it here later. But really, I like the wheel on the Rally Edition. Rider capacity is going to show 1. Can you ride 2 up? You can, but it comes set up for 1. Now, you're going to have your maximum weight. You know, as you'll remember on the Spyders, the rider weight was pretty much the same. On these, it's a little different because the weight of the motorcycle is different. So if the suspension is loaded less with the engine or loaded more with gear or with accessories, then you have to subtract the weight of those accessories in order to have your rider capacity. So we'll talk about the rider capacity on the base model, which is 449 pounds, the sport model, which is 437 pounds, and on the rally, which is 412 pounds. So obviously, you're one person, you're not gonna be killing that. There's just not gonna be a problem. Storage capacity on all of them is the same: 1.85 gallons or 7 liters. Fuel capacity, 5.28 gallons or 20 liters, and fuel type is premium unleaded. So we talked a little bit about different things with the engine. Now let's talk about the chassis a little bit. The chassis length on these things are 92.6 inches. 92.6 on all of them. Although I will drop something right here on the CanAm webpage. They show one at 2.6 inches. It was a typo. It's 92.6, not 2.6. That'd be a little bitty RYKER, wouldn't it? I find this stuff funny. Whether you do or not, I don't know, but I find it funny. Wheelbase is 67.3 inches. The seat height obviously is going to be a little different because you're going to have a different size wheel. You're going to have different adjustable shocks. But we'll just say for the sake of discussion, it's that 23 to 24 inch seat height. The ground clearance ranges from 3.8 to 4.8 inches. So there you have it. That much difference. That can be a big difference if you're running over a curve or something. But otherwise, 3.8 to 4.8, where you're going to feel that is that plush ride. If you're doing some silly stuff, having that extra inch of travel is very, very significant. Instrumentation is what you would expect. It's that little 4.5 inch Casio watch display. I don't like the display. I think that all of the CanAm should have a TFT color display. These, what I call the cheap Big 4 displays, like on my SV650, when you're paying $6,000 for a motorcycle, you kind of understand it. But if you're up around $10, $12, $13, $14,000, you should get something better than a Casio watch. That's all I can say about that. All of them, of course, we'll go through the breakdown of the speedometers and what they have on there, though. Safety and security, they've got stability control, they've got traction control, ABS, of course. For anti-theft, they got the DESS, that's that digitally encoded security system. The hill hold control on there. factory warranty, 1 year limited, 1 year roadside assistance, and extended service you can get through Best, but that's an additional fee. All right, so there's pretty much the commonalities. The body, they look the same roughly on the outside. When you look at a RYKER, they all look pretty much the same. There are subtle differences that, you know, when you're in the game, you'll obviously pick up on those things. You'll be able to look at wheels and determine which model is which also. So there are mild differences between all of them. So let's start with the base and get the show on the road. All right, so the base is as we described as far as the engines and the horsepower. You can get a 600 or a 900 base. The 600 base weighs 594 pounds. The 900cc base weighs 616 pounds. We've already discussed the horsepower, but let's talk about the suspension type and travel, okay? So the front shock type on the base model is the Sachs twin tube coilover shocks with 5.35 inches of travel. The rear shock, you have twin tube coilover shocks with preload adjustment only. Preload adjustment only. So we've talked about the brakes, the wheels, the rims on the base model are a 10-spoke platinum silver rim. Rider capacity we discussed is 1, maximum vehicle load 449 pounds. We talked about the fuel capacity. So what comes on the base that are niceties? Okay, let's talk that has a speedometer, a tachometer, odometer, trip meter, distance to empty, engine light, fuel gauge, and clock. In addition to all of those things, the 900 will have an eco mode and a sport mode. You'll get a couple of halogen headlamps. You'll get front fenders with integrated LED lights, dual USB ports, a glove box, and adaptive foam waterproof seat. There you go. There's the base model. That's all you need to know. That's everything you need to know. So let's talk the Sport. The Sport obviously has the 900cc 3-cylinder Rotax engine with 82 horsepower, as you have discovered already. But the big difference that you're going to see on this, you're going to start to see some small changes in suspension. The front suspension type on this is a KYB HPG with preload adjustment. Okay, so now you have preload adjustment in the front. On the rear shock, you're going to have the KYB HPG with remote reservoir, 4 piston compression now as opposed to 2, adjustable damping and preload, and that's a lot nicer. That's a lot nicer. We'll leave it at that. Maximum vehicle load 438 pounds. All of the other specs are the same. Your ground clearance is 4 inches on this. Your dry weight 642 pounds. So we're starting to get a little bit heavier, which is going to make it a little bit slower. That's one of the issues that I have with when you start paying more. I would want to make sure that my weight to horsepower ratio did not go in the wrong direction. As far as your Casio display, I know they're going to hate me saying that. As far as your display, you're going to have the same exact things as on the other: speedometer, tachometer, odometer, distance to empty, engine lights, fuel gauge, eco mode, and a sport mode. So what do you get with this package? You get 2 halogen headlamps, you get a front fender with integrated LED, sounds familiar, a dual USB glove box, full rear fender, sport comfort seat, so a different seat, max mount structure, sport style trims and finishes, cruise control, big one there, and sport mode. So the RYKER Rally, of the 3, this is the one, if I were going to buy a RYKER, this is the one that I would want. Just be quite frank with you. Same engine, same horsepower, same transmission, same suspension as far as the hard components. You're going to get a little more suspension travel. It's going to be the same type of suspension that is going to have adjustable damping, compression, and preload. So it's going to be a little just more fine-tunable, something that's a little, for a rider, those are the things that you really, really want. And a motorcycle that has a setup suspension always rides way, way better than just the way it comes from the factory. Your maximum vehicle load, 412 pounds. So you can see that's coming down. As far as fuel and storage and all that's exactly the same. Instrumentation is the same, but we're getting into some features here. So let's do a feature breakdown on this. So the things that are included in the Rally package are a max mount, the Rally fender, air intake accents with a pre-filter, aluminum handguards, front vehicle protection, a rear mud flap, fuel tank lock and parking brake lock kit. Also, of course, you get cruise control and a glove box lock. They say the rims are stronger. I have no reason to question that whatsoever. I think that the wheel, the way it's designed, looks like it would be radially stronger. Also has rally-ready tires. What does that mean? A more aggressive tread pattern. That way, if you're going to be hitting a dusty road or a trail and you're wanting to be a little more crazy, cuckoo, you can do that. The push bar on the front does look cool. It does have a skid plate on it. Another thing that it does have that is, I think, is nice is the Acropovic exhaust. They say it doesn't affect the horsepower. I have a hard time believing that, but I'm going to take their word for it. I mean, they built the machine. They should know. But I would think that with the Acura exhaust that you know, you'd get a little something. But they say you don't. It just sounds better. But the Rally is set up to be able to play and spin donuts and do, you know, what we would call in the motorcycle vernacular, you can be more of a hooligan on the Rally mode. And I think that's pretty cool. And the max mount on the back allows you to start mounting things like, you know, either a luggage or boxes or whatever, you know, so that you can take this thing on the road. It does have cruise control, and it will carry enough weight that you could tour on a RYKER Rally Pro. You could tour on that machine if you wanted to. I like the drive shaft. In fact, honestly, I like the drive shaft better than the belt. All right, so there are your three RYKERs, the three of them, as far as model lines, and then your base model, which has 2 engine types that you can get. So you've got a total of 4 RYKERs. Now, the RYKERs are interesting because they talk about over 100,000 different ways to customize it. Obviously, if you change a wheel, if you change a piece of plastic here, this, there, you can really customize them. There's a lot of accessories for them. And BRP has done this right. I salute BRP. They have made a lot of accessories for these things, and that is exactly what they need to do. A lot of forethought on this, so that's cool. You notice I did not talk color options. The reason there are so many pop on and off pieces of color, I'd be here all day talking about that. They have a lot of panels that you can just pop on and off and change the color. So let's talk turkey. Yeah. Let's talk money. So again, BRP has a surcharge. The surcharge on the smaller motorcycles is obviously going to be smaller. $525 surcharge. So you're going to have MSRP plus surcharge. That is going to be your base price for the vehicle. That is before tag. That is before tax. That is before title. That is before shipping. That is before assembly fees. All of that stuff. So you can add another 10 to 12% on top of this. All right. Before we get to talking price, if you would do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and all that stuff. You know I would appreciate it. So let's talk price. Let's talk turkey, baby, because they're not cheap like they were. You know, are they inexpensive? For a CanAm Spyder type motorcycle, yes, they are. But are they cheap? Not anymore. Base model, I would say, is reasonable, right? 600cc, the RYKER 600 base is $8,999 with a surcharge of $525 for a grand total of $9,524. To get that $900, though, you're going to have to pony up a little more cash, baby, at $10,699 with a surcharge of $525 for a grand total of $11,224. Now, the RYKER Sport, we're starting to move up a little bit. $11,899 MSRP, surcharge $525, and a grand total of $12,424. Now, the big brother or big sister of the RYKER Rally, the big machine, the cool kid on the block, is $13,000. Oh, we have a guest here.
And I have a big brother and a twin sister and a little brother. And I'm the coolest of them all.
Are you?
Hello, how y'all doing? You having fun, Coach Bob?
I'm having a ball. Want a sip of my coffee?
Coach Bob's hard at work again.
Gonna be a bear, be a grizzly, baby.
Enjoy your RYKER.
Nice to see Coach Vic.
Yeah,
It's
nice
always
to see you.
nice to see Coach Vic.
All right, there you go.
RYKER Rally, $13,899 with a surcharge of $525, bringing your grand total up to $14,424. So as you can see, when you start approaching 15K, you're in the ballpark of some real motorcycles, some real machines. So there again, if you're not a rider though, and you want a cool machine, then the RYKER is perfect for you. And even at that price, it's perfect for you. If you're a guy who says, you know, I wanted to do this just as a diversion, I love riding motorcycles, then that'll be up in the air for you. But for someone like Coach Vic or one of my daughters that wanted to ride and they really don't have any desire to struggle with the process of learning to ride a motorcycle, man, the RYKER is the one. It is definitely the one. The prices are reasonable in today's market, and they do look really, really good. So BRP, I salute you on your RYKER lineup. Nice job. They look good. And I'm going to tell you, the Rally looks a lot better this year than it did last year. So kudos to you on those changes. I think they were positive changes. Like my opinion matters anyway. I don't value my opinion too much, but I'm glad you came in. Was that everything? Probably not. Was it more than you wanted? Probably so, but that's okay too. So do me a favor this week. Go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, whether it's 3 or 2 wheels, I don't care. Eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. I'll see you on the road real soon. Now you go seize the day.